So yes, guys, this is the presentation I'm going to give you a talk about. But obviously, this was the kind of the audience catcher. The honest presentation name is "How to be semi-programmatic with influencers." Let me maybe get here. Yeah. All right. So I'm Samet. I work in Wooga, and it's been 3 years now. I'm in the performance marketing side, but I'm also responsible for whole budget of Jelly Splash, as well as performance marketing, or like 100% performance marketing. We're also focusing on alternative channels like Instagram. So let me just give you like a kind of a fancy slide about our company. It's founded in 2009. We're all located in Berlin. Actually, it's a lie. It's like 99% is located in Berlin, and 1% is in Japan. So we're like 3 people in Japan. And for these like awesome 6 years, we have 5 hit games, and you can see that one of them is Jelly Splash. And I actually want to talk about Jelly Splash today. Jelly Splash is like, since the launch time, which is like more than 2 years, we had the anniversary like last month. It's been downloaded like by 75 million people in 3 platforms: Facebook, iOS, and Android. Let me just jump there quickly. Yeah. So situation is obviously that's a mature game. That's not easy to advertise as it was first day. And if you look at this Fixu chart that is about cost per loyal index, I'm not even talking about cost per index, which you already know that it's going higher and higher. But obviously finding loyal users is not easy task to do. And the problem is the high CPIs, obviously. And we were just thinking maybe the solution or an alternative could be influencers. So this presentation, to set the expectations right, it's not going to be about cats. I'm not going to show you any pictures. It's not going to be about real Instagram ads. It's not going to be about engagement or re-engagement campaigns. But this is going to be about how we use. I didn't actually memorize all the lines, so I have to. Oops. Maybe like if I present this in New York or somewhere in Berlin. But yeah, I'm going to talk about like how we are using in Wooga the influencers, and like as a performance. Yeah, let me just jump there once again. Guys, we're cutting these parts of the video, please. Like, all right, so we are going to talk about influencers. If you're new to this, it's going to be a crash course. If you're familiar with this, I hope you're going to learn something new, and we can also exchange afterwards the knowledge that you know and knowledge that we have. And we do this for almost 2 years for Jelly Splash. We're one of the first ones in this area, so I'm proud to be one of the pioneers there and to share you the information we got. And I want to talk to you about this. Like, I actually got this during the rehearsal. They told me like there's no structure in my presentation, so I actually put this like structure after I created the presentation. So this is the structure of my presentation, and we will go over one by one. So Instagram, let's talk about Instagram. If you look at the demographics, comparing with the counterparts like Facebook or Twitter, it's much younger. But if you look at Snapchat and Vine, obviously, it's a little bit mature. So it's somewhere really in the middle. And that kind of fit our audience as well. And if you look at the younger population, they're also saying that they are affected by people in their social networks. And if you look at if you compare the engagement rates of Instagram, they're much higher than their older sister and brother. So this is actually a comparison that I can tell you. This guy is me, actually. this guy over there. We had the Jelly Splash Halloween picture, which we took in Wooga, and then we posted on our Facebook fan page and also on Instagram. And the engagement ratio was 250 times better for this. So you can imagine how engaging the Instagram content is. And then now we talk about Instagram, let's jump into the influencer part. People are curious about influencer marketing. You can see that there's kind of an exponential increase in the term influencer marketing. But no worries, I'm going to give you a Wikipedia description of Instagram influencers. I'm going to cheat it here. Partnering with key influencers to co-create Instagram content that is engaging and meaningful to the customers. And when we approach these people, it's an internal kind of classification, but it's a pretty useful one. We divide them into 3. So the first profiles are the personal accounts. These could be creative people, travelers, gamers who are sharing cool content and who can actually create cool content for your games or for your app. We have minor celebrities. These could be like this. This gentleman, for instance, is like a candidate for America's Next Top Model. So these are minor celebrities. It could be like a fitness influencer, or a small TV show, or a music influencer. These are obviously not as expensive as Kate Upton or Shakira or whatnot. And the last part is the generic accounts. And these are the accounts that belongs to no one. And they're posting videos like about horror, about couples, about comedies and stuff. And if you want to know who is actually doing campaigns, if you follow these accounts, I'm not saying one of these 3, but somehow similar big accounts, you can actually stumble upon us as well as other apps as well who are using Instagram. So I would really highly recommend you to follow these big accounts to see who is doing what there. And let's jump into a little bit like concrete part. That's the campaign execution. Because maybe so far what we talked, it's all about qualitative data. And when I was creating this presentation, I was missing some quantitative data. And I just want to give you some like really concrete information. So actually my transitions are not working, but I didn't want to show you all at once. For push or burst campaigns, we call them as, or we treat them as push or burst campaigns. But I'm not talking about like going to top 10 in US, but more like we run these campaigns over three or 4 days, for instance, a month. That's why we call them push. And to be able to kind of run these campaigns, you obviously need to have a coverage. You need to have a few Ks of budget. But obviously, I'm talking about a game like Jelly Splash, which has few million monthly active users. And you will have tens of ambassadors that are posting about your game. You need to have millions of engagements, or a few 100,000. You need to have an analyst and a marketing person. You need to have, this is really important, you need to have the game at least in 2 platforms, and at least means iOS and Android. Otherwise, you're going to be missing at least 50% of the people. So please don't try, honestly, if you have only a game in 1 platform. And we are actually working with an agency, but if you have like kind of an influencer expert in your team, if you happen to have it, then you can create your own campaigns as well. And for smaller companies, if you're not as big as Wooga, which is like 300 people company, feel free to divide some of these numbers to 10. Like, obviously, you cannot divide an analyst and a marketing person to 10, but the other stuff. And like while setting up the campaigns, you need to think about your audience. Is it the older audience you want to reach? Is it super young? Is it female? Is it male? Because these are the accounts that you need to pick. You cannot go to a kind of a horror, let's say, influencer account, and you're expecting to kids to download the game. So you need to kind of really think about it, where to approach. You need to also set the expectations to yourself and to the agency about the GEO or the messaging. You need to prepare the big campaigns in advance, so it's not like you're just putting Chart Boost live and putting off the other day. It's a matter of big planning. And we use actually hashtags to track our posts. If you don't use hashtags, you will have several ambassadors, and your content will be lost somewhere. To be able to track your stuff, please use hashtag. For instance, we use Jelly O Lantern during Halloween, and you can actually check Jelly O Lantern hashtag to see what we have done on Instagram. And this is also really, really important. If you don't want to deal with all the legal stuff that it might occur in the future by American associations or something, please use the disclaimers that you're not fooling the customers. You're obviously making a sponsorship there, and they need to be honest about that sponsorship. So these are the two examples, for instance, that she used. She say clearly that she's sponsoring. So it's like TV ads. You need to be really careful with the disclaimers. And if we go to the pricing, I would say an agency can come to you and then offer three types of pricing. One is the CPR, cost per reach. I would say don't do it, because cost per reach means you need to pay for number of followers, but you will have no idea how much engagement those followers can do in that campaign. So we definitely say like this is a red cross. And the second one is the cost per engagement, which is you pay for the engagements. So agency is responsible for delivering the right amount of engagements, and if they can't hit, they need to push more. But from your side, your risk is if those engagements will turn into installs. So I would say CPE is somewhere in the middle. And if you're looking for CPI, that's the best option, obviously. You don't take any risk because you're going to pay only for your installs. But obviously, like for Jelly Splash, we don't have any coding or stuff that we could offer this to the agency. So this is technically not possible for us, at least for now. So this is the summary that we are working with CPE model. And if we want to, it's really easy to kind of ballpark figures here. And agencies, I've heard from different agencies, we also tried many different agencies. They can be really expensive, although they don't really necessarily worth it. So I would say for generic accounts, you may expect to pay at least 3 cents per engagement. And when I say engagement, it's about like likes, shares, video, number of video, like rewinds and stuff. So this is what I call engagement. And if you look at the personal accounts, it's really different. It could be 5 cents, it could be 50 cents. It really depends on the quality of the content. And you can expect something like for a game like Jelly Splash, 0.5, as low as 0.5. But if you really had a bad time with your campaign performance, it can also go up to $5. So it's a bit of a risky business as well. I would say don't put all the money that you have. Maybe divide the risk with 100% performance marketing and some alternative channel like this. And I would say don't get stuck on your engagements, because at the end of the day, installs matter. So somebody can offer you a lot of engagements with super small prices, but at the end of the day, if it's not turning to an install, it doesn't matter. And if you look at the quality, obviously, this is a big question because that kind of drops into the LTV line. It's fair to talk about the geography, which you don't have a power as you do on ad networks or Facebook or Twitter. So I would say, even if you're targeting US-centric accounts, you can get like 50%, more or less 50% of your audience from US, 1/4 from Western countries, and 1/4 from everyone else. It could be Arab, it could be Asia, it could be Oceania, and so on. I would say if there are people here who has like local apps, feel free to also ask your agency, or feel free to go for the influencers that has specific languages. So you know that there will be people that you can target for specific countries, like Russian or Portuguese speaking. And kind of a clue about the LTV, I cannot obviously give you, it would be wrong to give you the LTV of Jelly Splash from influencer campaigns. But I can say, like, it's not as great as the optimized campaigns, but it's nothing like Incent where you should be worried about retention or monetization. And let's also talk about the volume, because that also matters for people. I would say it depends on your budget, but from few K installs per day to tens of Ks of installs per day could be kind of your potential. And I would say combining with user acquisition also very popular, not only in Wooga, but also I see different examples. When I follow these accounts on Instagram, I actually stumbled upon with one app that I'm not going to mention what, but they were pushing really hard their app in the Instagram accounts, and I was like, okay, after the campaign, I want to check their results actually. How did they perform? And then I went to Sensor Tower Ad Intelligence tool. If you didn't hear about this, this is kind of new, and I'm not paid to say that, but it's a nice tool. So that actually shows you like what this company is doing on the performance marketing side. And if you look at the push time, like they actually didn't increase a lot on their performance marketing. So I was really surprised to see they were hitting top 20s without pushing the user acquisition campaigns, although there was a significant increase, obviously, in their user acquisition. But I would say this ranking was thanks to the influencers. And if you look at Jelly Splash, this is like the kind of the lifetime download rankings for Jelly Splash iOS, United States iPhone. And you can see that like through 2015, we had some jumps here and there. And these are the ones that we pushed, actually, these campaigns. That's why we're calling them push campaigns, where we hit the rankings and obviously brought a lot of users during this time. This is a lot of, so I'm answering all the questions you might have, so I'm not going to repeat it in a networking session. And that's the last part, and maybe the most important part. That's the tracking and attribution. I would say, let's divide it to beginner and advanced. And beginner, I would say, if you have done this for the first time, check your uplift first. Check the organic uplift that you get from these days. As an example, this is the paid users we got. These are representing the number of installs. And there are times we're having higher paid users and low. And as you can see, there's an organic install, but we also see the uplifts that are belonging, like we know that they belong to influencer campaigns. So that's the easiest thing you can do with your simple Excel knowledge, I would say. One really easy to implement thing is also using questionnaires in your app. And it's not a brainy, it's just adding a questionnaire and ask people where they come from. This is what we show, like we don't want to damage the retention, so we agreed to put this questionnaire at the end of 10th level of each user, and they're voluntarily answering this. As you can see, we have put here like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vine, friends, family, even some dummy options like TV, although we never push TV in US, just to check the reality of the answers. But yeah, this is easy to do it. And when you look at the answers, like you can actually compare before, after, and during the campaigns. And orange actually is representing the people who comes from Instagram. Obviously, the days that we pushed, there was a lot of like increase in the answers, but they also didn't really disappear after we stopped the campaigns. Since these people, these influencers, leave their posts on their accounts, people who like these people, who follow these people, and who stalk the old pictures of these people will know about your game, even if it's not a fresh picture. And if you want to go for some advanced things, I would say check the daily retention, booking, and device distributions, just to see the quality of these users. Okay, you need to focus on this one because I was doing like two rehearsals with people who know the campaigns. They didn't understand this chart, but I was really keen on showing this. So this is representing the first 22 days of the campaign, of the month, and we run like 8-day campaign there. And as you can see, the engagements of organic and paid user combined versus the times that we were pushing the influencers. If you look at the early day retentions, they're actually really good. But if you look at like after 30 days, they're just a bit like lower than organic installs, I would say. And since these people are young, their maybe patient is not that there. So you can actually see the first session length is also pretty small. For monetization, you can also see like some kind of yellow and orange colors, which I already told you. The quality is not as good as your DSP or ad network, but it's not as bad as an instance. So you don't see red here, so to say. And if you look at the iPhone distribution, there you can see a lot of greens because, yeah, young people have a lot of iPhones. We see exactly the opposite for iPad distributions. We get almost no iPads during the campaigns. And the last part, for the advanced ones, have a manual attribution to your database. But this is you can do with your marketing analyst, where he or she can write a really smart SQL query or a Python query that you can actually pinpoint some users based on their futures, basically. So I counted these 7 steps for our success, and to be able to answer like, are these the new cats for us? I would say we really love them to mix our channels. So we use them besides user acquisition and re-engagement campaigns. But I would love to hear your opinion if they could be your cats or they are already. And I want to thank our marketing analyst, Timothy, also helping a lot doing this analysis. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot it. Thank you.